It is time for your favorite politically incorrect sports commentary show. Yes, it is time for Sports Frenzy 2.0. I am the maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the conquistador, Dave Height.
And it is time for us to recap all the craziness of the baseball trade deadline 2024. I still think they should move it back. Moving it up like they did a couple years ago, I think, has created a lot of issues, a lot of problems.
It's still interesting.
It muddies the waters. A lot of people, a lot of pundits said this was not the exciting trade deadline that they were expecting. But again, too many teams think they have a chance, which is a good thing.
You saw a lot of minor deals here and there.
Well, the big one so far is Jazz Chisholm, and I do not want to mispronounce that because that seems to be happening a lot lately in the New York media since they acquired him. But Jazz Chisholm, of course, has been nothing but stellar since the Yankees have picked him up a few days ago. Everybody's making a big deal about, as yesterday, the trade deadline passed. This is episode 30 of 2024 here on July the 31st. So yesterday was the 30th.
The deadline day.
Everybody's making a big deal about the Jack Flaherty deal where the Dodgers get a little help in their rotation. And if that's the biggest deal of the day, then yeah, it is kind of boring.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Your guys...
The Sox just keep getting worse.
But they could have gotten a lot worse, and they still didn't trade a lot of assets that they probably should have or could have.
They held on to Garrett Crochet, and they held on to Luis Robert.
Crochet was because of him and his agent yapping their gums.
Yeah, saying, well, I don't
Sox.
think he needs to... He's not going to pitch unless he gets a new deal. This is not like the NFL,
Well, plus
kids.
the pitch count stuff.
And the whole pitch count thing, not wanting to pitch out of the bullpen, I get that. He is now a starter.
But at the same time, he was also saying he wanted a pitch limit. That's the thing.
I don't think I don't think his agents know what the hell is going on.
They were sending mixed signals.
Yeah.
He didn't want to blow out his arm, but like you said, he didn't want to go to the bullpen, but he wanted an innings limit.
He just wanted a deal for protection.
Yeah, so now they'll wait to the offseason. They'll probably be fine.
They'll figure something out. It just...
But you're saying about Luis Robert?
Yep, they held on to him. No bites on him. Which is kind of surprising considering that the Orioles traded a left-handed minor league pitcher, Trey Magoo, for Eloy Jimenez.
Magoo.
So, Eloy's gone. Fine. All the hype around him, his first season, came on like gangbusters. He's been injury-plagued with hamstring issues, shoulder issues, not a great fielder, and his hitting has tanked every year that he's been up.
Yeah, where'd you get him from?
Yeah, we got him from the Cubs. We thought we got a steal giving you Quintana, the left-handed pitcher.
We should have held on to Quintana.
Yeah.
He's still pitching pretty good now with the Mets.
Yeah, so Eloy's gone to the Orioles. He'll probably turn into a decent hitter for them. Who knows? We traded away left-handed reliever Tanner Banks to the Phillies for shortstop William Bergola. There's a theme for what Getz is doing. He's brought in a lot of infielders with these trades. Started off with a 3-team trade between the Sox, the Dodgers, and the Cardinals. So the Sox sent Fedde and Pham to the Cardinals and Kopech to the Dodgers. How desperate are the Dodgers for bullpen help if they went for Kopech?
Yeah, and the thing is, again, the media, just like early in the season, when we were ripping into them for the bullshit they pulled with Shohei Ohtani, and how the media didn't want to delve into the gambling issue.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they're acting like, oh my God, the Dodgers won the trade deadline. Oh my God, they are the de facto favorites to win everything.
Have they ever seen Kopech pitch?
They didn't. Flaherty's a decent starter.
And
We'll
they got
see how
some
he
minor
is.
pieces that are on
Edman,
the surface.
I think they got Edman in that deal with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
He was the piece that came with the Cardinals.
Yeah, but yeah, they got a couple
I'm not
of...
impressed. I'm not impressed. The most impressive move the Dodgers will make is when they take Mookie Betts off the IL.
Yeah, that's what will make them. But yeah, in that deal, the Sox wound up getting 3 infielders. Miguel Vargas, a legitimate player right now, ish.
Yeah, ish.
Possibly
ish.
up and coming, who knows?
Little bit of
and then
major
2 minor
league
leaguers.
Yep.
And then we're going to get a player or cash considerations later. Then the fun one the other day. The Sox trade their shortstop, Paul DeJong, to the Royals in the middle of the series. So all DeJong had to do was walk from one dugout across the field to the other. Easiest trade move ever for a player.
Well, yeah, we joke about that, but he does have to figure out living accommodations and all. Now, the teams usually help with that.
Yeah, but again, he's a shortstop. They got Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be platooning or playing some third, second, who knows. But and they get back a Class A pitcher in return. Brilliant. Whatever.
And
they still suck.
And that series, by the way, as we joke about the fact that Paul DeJong just moved from one dugout to the other, that series just ended this afternoon as we tape on July the 31st. And the results!
It would have been a series sweep for the Royals. 10-3 today. The Sox now 57 games under 500 at 27-84. 40 games behind Cleveland. 17 straight losses.
Oh my God. 40 games out. And we're not even in August yet. And they blew away my expectations.
Yeah, you thought they might hit 82? No, they got 84 losses.
So we are not into August yet, and they have locked in
a losing season.
Regardless of if they could win every single game in August and September, they would still have a losing record.
Yeah.
My God, by mid-August, they could have 100 losses.
Yeah. My bet is they are going to have 100 losses before they hit 35 wins. Hell, they might not even hit 30 wins. They might not even hit 30 wins before they hit 100 losses.
You know that's out there on the betting lines.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if our buddy Jamie's already in on that.
Yeah, I would.
You and I don't bet, but he does.
I would take that one.
Yeah, but the first team ever? Is this right? First team ever with multiple 14-game losing streaks in one season. Yep. I believe that's a record. Oh, no, the first team since 1935. I'm sorry.
Yes.
The first team since 1935.
To have multiple 14-game losing streaks or longer.
In one season. Yes, because like you said, they're 17 and counting right now.
Yeah.
Oof.
So bad.
Yeah, the Cubs, I'm okay with the lack of activity. I'm okay with what they did. I am. God help me, I am. Even though I'm not going to call him Itzhak like a lot of people are. It's Isaac Paredes, but they're saying no, it's pronounced Itzhak.
No, it's Isaac.
Of course, he catches the Cubs' hitting disease the minute he steps into the lineup and goes 0 for 4 last night as they got beat by the Reds. And then, of course, Christopher Morel was the guy they gave up, sent him to Tampa for Paredes, which I'm fine with. Everybody who listened last week knows how little regard I have for Christopher Morel. But he hit home runs in not only his first game, but his second game. Now, that's it, though. 2 solo shots,
Yeah.
otherwise nothing, striking out. Typical Christopher Morel.
And one of the first game playing for the Cardinals, Tommy Pham hit a grand slam.
Yes, he did. You're right. Yes.
So there you go.
It happens. I'm fine with it. The Rays will find out this guy cannot hit an off-speed pitch to save his life. Paredes will eventually be fine. And then, of course,
At
Cody...
least he hits for contact.
Well, compare 200 to 250.
Yeah.
I'll take 250. Home run numbers are similar.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course, Cody Bellinger was activated. Now, I thought this was a very sneaky move. This is what I initially thought that Jed Hoyer was doing.
Activating him for a trade?
Yes, because Craig Counsell had said, I believe, either Sunday night or Monday afternoon, had said he's a few days away. And then the next thing you know, boom, he's activated. Because I think Hoyer wanted to get him activated and show everybody, oh, finger's healed. Finger's fine. What are you going to give me for him?
Yeah.
Nothing happened. No bites. They held on to Bellinger. They held on to Tyone. So, and Bellinger hit a home run.
So there you go.
His first game back in the lineup. So there you go. But, of course, the Cubs have dropped the first 2 to the Reds. Still look like the same old fucking piece of shit Cubs.
They're still better than the Sox.
The starting pitching is starting to get frustrated, you can tell. Now we've had back-to-back bad starts between Tyone and Steele.
They're trying to be too perfect. They know they've got no margin for error. And they cannot just go out and throw. You cannot
put this much pressure on the starting rotation. Now people, oh, but look what you did in the bullpen. You traded Mark Leiter Jr. to the Yankees. Good. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I never liked him. I never liked Mark Leiter Jr. Never, ever, ever. And guess what? He pitched today for the Yankees, let up a run in 1 inning.
There you go.
Almost blew their lead.
Pretty much what he's done for the Cubs all season.
Yeah. So I was fine with these trades the Cubs made. I'm fine with hanging on to the guys they did. I'm looking like Jed Hoyer, big picture, long term. Cubs are 51 and 58. Yes, they are also in last place, but they're only 10.5 games out.
Yeah, instead of 40.
Yeah, behind the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, other teams, not to just focus on our teams, but other teams. We mentioned the Jazz Chisholm move, looking so far very good for the Yankees, as they took care of business against the Phillies. Man, I'm telling you, the Yankees all of a sudden turned things around. You mentioned, I believe last week, you were worried because they were on a downturn, and you said, oh, I wish I'd used my other Yankees pick.
Early on.
Now you're okay.
Now
it's looking better.
Now it's looking better.
Their starting rotation is still shaky. Garrett Cole had to skip a start, but the offense now looks like it's back to being dynamic.
Yeah, they seem to have maybe gotten over that little slump they were in.
I think I saw today DJ LeMahieu had 6 RBIs.
And they were talking about DFAing him just a couple weeks ago.
Yep. Now Tampa Bay, one of the teams that bailed on the season very early, which is so disappointing. They were above 500 when they started selling off players.
Yeah, they were in the hunt for a wild card berth.
Yep. And they let Paredes go to the Cubs. They sent Randy Arozarena, their number 1 star player, to the Mariners. They sent probably their top starting pitcher, Zach Eflin, to the Orioles. So they are in tankathon mode. Jorge Soler goes back to the Braves. Of course, he was the MVP of the World Series when they won a couple years ago. Now, the Giants, I think, were happy to get rid of that deal. I think they signed him to a 3-year deal, and they were realizing that he's not going to be worth it.
No. So, Padres made some moves to try and get better.
Yes, bullpen. And what have we been talking about all year, Dave? Bullpen. Cubs needed bullpen help.
They didn't go out and get it.
No. But you're right, the Padres did. They get arguably the best relief pitcher on the market. Miami Marlins closer Tanner Scott goes to the Padres. Interesting thing that I heard overnight last night. Going into the season. Now, of course, remember, off season they traded for Dylan Cease. You know this, of course. And then, of course, early in the season they traded for Luis Arias, one of the best pure hitters in the league. If you go back to before the Dylan Cease trade, what I heard last night is, now we've gone through all these trades here up to the deadline as of yesterday, July the 30th. I believe they said out of the 15 top prospects in the San Diego minor league group, all the affiliates, everybody, the top 15 minor league prospects, they have 3 left.
Wow.
Yeah, they traded away almost all of their top 15 prospects. Ooh. They are going for it and going for it now.
Damn.
Yep. And then I was listening.
They're prospects. You don't know what they're going to do.
Right. And the guy I was listening to actually covers the Padres. So I got to believe he knows what he's talking about. And he also said the reason they're doing this and they're bailing right now, or they're at least trying to go for it right now, is because in 2 years, all these big contracts, Machado, Tatis, they're all backloaded. So their salary cap or their luxury tax number is going to skyrocket in 2 years. It's going to balloon
badly. So
they are going for it this year, next year.
And then they're going to have to sell off.
Yeah. So that's going to make a very interesting dynamic in the National League West between the Dodgers and the Padres, with both of them butting heads, going for it now, going all in, trading prospects, spending the money.
It should at least make that interesting down the stretch.
Yep.
That's all you can hope for.
Yep.
Hey, you hear about the Angels?
Well, I know normally we wouldn't talk about the Angels, number one, because they suck, and number two, because we never get to see them on TV here in the Midwest, but...
That's right. Well, they just announced they are shutting down Mike Trout's rehab. The season return is seriously in doubt. There is no timeline for him to get back to rehabbing. He's feeling discomfort after the meniscus tear surgery, and they're just going to let him make the determination on when he can hit things full stride again. China doll! So here he is again, not even coming close to playing half a season, in the middle. This is year 6 of that 12-year, $426.5 million deal he signed. And he has been absolutely useless the last 4.
And if his season is indeed over, 29 games. He played 29 games in 2024.
Yep. But hey, guess what? Anthony Rendon, he's back on the IL with lower back inflammation. Just 14 games after coming back from that hamstring issue where he missed most of the first part of the season. Again, he signed a 7-year, $245 million deal. And, you know, the most games he's played in the season over the last 5 years, 58 games. That's his season-high games played in the last 5 years. The guy is a pathetic joke. This is why you do not give guaranteed money. This is why the NFL is brilliant and all the other sports suck.
And this is despite the fact that the NFL right now, these contracts they're giving out are 70 to 75% guaranteed. But that 25 to 30% makes a big difference, especially on the back end.
Yes,
when you
does.
know you can get out of the last 2 years without a massive dead cap hit. With baseball, the Angels right now are screwed.
Yep.
They are screwed. They will not be a good, viable franchise for at least 5 to 7 years. And that's assuming they can make every possible brilliant move that the front office can make.
Yeah, they are done.
Because they let Shohei go, and then they've got now Trout, and they've got Rendon dead weight around their necks, dragging them down.
Yep, absolutely pathetic.
Now the Mets are doing pretty good, right? They're just outside right now as of today.
They're a plunky team.
They lost to the Twins today. I think that just bumped them right out a little bit out of the last wild card spot in the NL. They're in there,
but they're viable.
Competing. They were hoping. Speaking of ridiculous injuries, not on the level of Mike Trout or Anthony Rendon, but still, they were hoping to get back their ace from last year, Kodai Senga, who has been on the injured list the entire year with shoulder issues. So they bring him back finally. He gets a win. He pitches fairly well in his first game back, but going to field a ball, strains his calf, major calf strain, most likely done for the regular season. So that's it for Kodai Senga.
How do you strain your calf?
Out of shape. He wasn't keeping himself in shape, obviously.
That's pathetic.
You want to talk China doll? You're screaming China doll earlier? I am so sick of this kind of garbage.
Yeah.
The Mets should be able to get almost all of that contract for this year back.
Yeah, there should be minimum expectations. And if they're not met, that year is void.
And here's the thing that people don't understand. When we get mad and we yell and we scream about this no guaranteed contract stuff, and we go, these are the guys that are really earning it. They're the ones out on the field.
No, they're not. They're playing a damn game.
They're getting per diems. They're getting food. They're getting lodging on the road. They're getting medical insurance. They're on top of their salaries.
They are playing a kid's game. Come on.
Would it really hurt to say Kodai Senga should get half his salary back this year because of the fact he's going to end up playing one goddamn game for the whole year? Is that really unfair? Is that really unfair?
No, it is not.
He still gets to keep millions and millions of dollars for one day's fucking... not just one day's work. He was working back and rehabbing and going on rehab assignments.
Balls!
And still, again, getting medical insurance, getting a per diem, getting meals. Something most of us will never, ever understand or enjoy.
These are pampered babies.
Now, we were talking about Dylan Cease earlier.
Yep.
I don't mean to rub salt in the White Sox wound.
But his no-hitter.
Yeah, Dylan Cease, of course, throws the second no-hitter in San Diego Padres history.
It
back
was only
on July the 25th.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time before he was going to get one. He's flirted with it before with the Sox. He's an outstanding pitcher.
And again, with that situation we talked about with what San Diego's looking at in terms of a luxury tax crunch coming a couple years down the road.
He's going to be due to get paid.
Are they going to have to ship him out?
Have to wait and see.
Because they can't pay him. Now, I know tonight, again, July the 31st, as we're taping, big game. He's pitching against the Dodgers.
Yep.
Try to close that gap. And the thing is, the Padres, honestly, with all the moves they've made over the last 4 or 5 years, all the trades, locking up Tatis Jr., Machado, now Bogarts, he's another one that's going to kill them in a couple years on the luxury tax.
But they have made
They're trying, but my God, they are the perfect example of a team. You just can't throw together a bunch of all-stars and expect the chemistry to work.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what's kind of hosed the Yankees of late. That's what's hosed the Dodgers a number of years. You just can't throw talent together and expect success.
Yep. And then even though it's a lost year again, shocking, for the Miami Marlins, maybe the future looks bright. Marlins rookie Xavier Edwards on July the 28th hit for only the second cycle in Marlins history against the Brewers.
Yep, legged out an infield single to complete it.
So
Gotta give him
eventually
effort on that.
you wait with the Marlins. That's the thing. You know what the Rays are going to do. The Rays are just going to do their thing. They win. If they don't win, they're going to sell off all the big salaries and they're going to try to win
Then
with
they'll start
front office
over
smarts.
again.
But the Marlins, you're always waiting for them to go back to that philosophy they had early on in the century, where it was 1 year, buy everybody, get everybody, and go for it for 1 year and then blow it up.
Off.
And blow it up. You're waiting for that again.
Yeah. Whole new regime, though.
It got them 2 rings. It got them 2 World Series championships.
That it did.
All right. We don't have any racing.
Nope.
But let's talk a little bit of racing, just for the hell of it. No, NASCAR, I should say. Corey LaJoie, been in the news a lot lately. His feud going on with Kyle Busch. Well, he has got a ride. Not for 2025. Spire Motorsports has kicked Corey LaJoie out of the number 7 car as of the end of 2024.
Yep, kicked him to the curb.
I find that shocking. Out of all the guys who are out there in the Cup Series, he is definitely not one of the bottom 5 drivers.
No, he should still have an opportunity. How does Ricky Stenhouse Jr. still have a freaking ride at this point?
And we've talked about Austin Dillon, of course. We know Ryan Preece. I still don't think he's getting a ride.
No, Preece is not that good.
Harrison Burton.
No, bye-bye.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Maybe Corey LaJoie is an asshat like Kyle Busch now thinks he is. You know?
But it's
one asshat.
It's one asshat to another. Exactly. It takes one to know one.
Speaking of asshats in NASCAR, Jimmy Johnson says, I didn't realize owning a team was going to be this hard. Of course,
really, dumbass?
Of course, changing Petty Enterprises over to the Legacy Motor Club. And now, with his limited schedule this year, not having a lot of success in the 84 team, Jimmy Johnson or somebody in the Legacy Motor Club hierarchy decided to release most of the 84 team's crew, including crew chief Jason Burdett. I wonder who that could have been.
Gee, I think Richard Petty was right early on when he said Jimmy Johnson was not a very nice individual when it came to the ownership piece. Pretty much kicking Petty to the curb and just had him as kind of a mascot for the organization.
Well, I think these athletes, I know their egos are beyond belief. We all know this. We saw it with Michael Jordan. Thought he could be an owner.
Yep.
In Charlotte. Failed miserably. Jimmy Johnson failing miserably with Legacy Motor Club. John Elway wasn't all that great as a GM.
He sucked as a GM.
In fact, came out this week and admitted that he botched the draft back when he took Bradley Chubb when he could have had Josh Allen.
Yep.
Got lucky the 1 year where he was able to get Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that was a miracle signing.
These players think they can run an organization. They think because they could play on the field or run the car well, think that qualifies them.
No.
Jeff Gordon, we don't know what he's going to do with Hendrick.
No.
But right now, Rick Hendrick's still running everything. Yeah. That's why they're still successful.
Yeah, there are some athletes, drivers who do have a solid understanding of what it takes to run a business and put things together and get the right people in place.
But usually it's not in sports. We've seen a lot of athletes go on to different businesses.
Yeah.
You know, restaurants. Magic Johnson went on to start a successful chain of movie theaters.
Yeah, because he was a joke in the front office of the Lakers.
Nobody's saying they can't run a business somewhere else, but something about trying
their
to...
particular sport doesn't necessarily translate.
Right. Just food for thought, kids. Food for thought. So that leaves us with F1.
And we're the still... Belgian Grand Prix at Spa.
Yep. Max Verstappen technically got the pole, but then because he had his 5th engine change of the year, which is one above the max allotted in F1.
Bye-bye.
Penalized 10 spots, so he drops back to the 11 spots. And then, after the race, the de facto winner, George Russell, was disqualified. So that meant that his teammate, Lewis Hamilton, ends up being declared the winner.
Wasn't that convenient?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's about the most F1 you're ever going to get out of us because of these fucking Olympics taking away NASCAR.
And stupid team orders and all that crap in F1. All right, kids, here we are on recording July 31st, 2024, the eve of the NFL Hall of Fame game. We're hitting the NFL next on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Apple, Overcast, CastBox, Amazon, Audible, and iHeart Sports Frenzy, baby.
Otherwise known, of course, as iHeartRadio. And do not forget to check out the Facebook page as we get ever closer to said NFL season. Right now, you're getting our baseball picks every Sunday night. You're getting our NASCAR picks.
When they're not on the damn Olympic break.
Yep, you'll get those every Thursday night, roughly. And, of course, football picks will be posted right before the weekend, coming up in late August, early September. But as Dave alluded to, we've got to talk about football.
Yep.
Silly, stupid money, Dave, still floating around out there in the NFL.
And holy crap, the Bears are actually part of that silly, stupid money.
Yeah, who'd have thought the biggest contract in Chicago Bears history would go to a wide receiver?
Yep, DJ Moore gets a 4-year, $110 million extension, 82.6 guaranteed.
Yep, 27.5, as they say, AAV, average annual value, which I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to get ahead of the curve on this.
Yeah, they are. They're locking him in because they know long about the time that contract comes up, they're going to have to pay Odunze and Williams.
Well, not only that, and I agree completely with what you're saying there, it's twofold. This is a twofold solution for the Bears. That being number one, that by then, at the end of the contract, you expect Odunze to take over as the number one guy. And you're going to have to pay Williams, God knows, $70 million at that point.
75.
Now, this probably eliminates Keenan Allen from getting an extension, but
unless he takes the aged veteran discount.
We'll see. You
never know.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in that, but we'll see.
Depending, he may want to give that up to get a shot at a title. Potentially.
Well, he could go somewhere else and get a title, too.
Yeah. Depends on
He's going to take less money.
Depends on how things are clicking.
Right. Depends on what the Bears look like in a year or two. Now, my other thought was that given what we've seen in terms of contracts for Justin Jefferson, and then what potentially CeeDee Lamb could get, what Jamar Chase could get, this could end up looking like a bargain a year or two down the road.
Yeah, obviously, I love DJ Moore. His work ethic, what he does on the field, he doesn't take plays off. He is a consummate teammate and a professional. He doesn't bitch and complain if he's not getting the targets like some of these other idiots do.
Yep. So I do like this signing. If you're gonna put all your chips in on one receiver, this is the guy to put them in on. I would have been very leery if they had ignored DJ Moore and gone to Keenan Allen and said, let's extend you first.
Yeah. No, they did the right thing here.
Supposedly, we have an upgrade at quarterback, and DJ still put up great numbers with Justin Fields. So, I got to believe the sky's the limit for DJ Moore now.
Yeah.
He's got two other guys right now for this year at least to take the pressure off of him.
What is it? Since he's been in the league, Williams is going to be like his 13th different quarterback throwing to him, and he's still top 7 receiver since he's been in the league.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, and to think, sorry, Carolina Panther fans, but to think that we were able to trade last year's number 1 for this year's number 1 and DJ Moore just blows my mind. Just blows my mind. So we got Caleb Williams and DJ Moore basically for Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think we came out on top of that one.
Yeah, we actually made a good deal for once. The bad news is, of course, we're taping here July the 31st. August the 1st is the Hall of Fame game. Now, that in of itself, reason to celebrate, cause to celebrate, because, of course, the great Steve McMichael will eventually here, within the next couple days, get into the Hall of Fame.
Yep. Jared Payton, son of Walter, is giving the induction speech at McMichael's request. The two of them have been very close since Walter's passing. It's a shame Mongo is not going to be able to be there. I'm just hopeful he's able to hold on to be able to see the ceremony and that he can understand what's going on.
And of course, he has gone through hell in terms of health issues here within the last couple years.
This last year, he was actually, he rescinded his DNR when he got word that he was being elected in this year. He wanted to fight to see it through, which speaks volumes about the man's heart and his love of the game.
Yep. And who knows, this could be the last member of that famed Bears team. The 85 Bears.
This is way too long overdue for him to be inducted.
And the one thing I will say when it comes to our teams, and we just got through bitching and pissing and moaning about the White Sox and the Cubs, anybody and everybody, for the most part, anybody with half a brain, a sports fan with any kind of knowledge, from the West Coast to the East Coast, from International Falls all the way down to the southern tip and the Keys of Florida, knows that the 85 Bears are definitely deserving every guy on that roster pretty much from top to bottom in terms of the starting lineup to be in the Hall of Fame, because that team is the best, the greatest team ever to set foot on a football field. And that's the thing.
Qualifying the defense. Not everybody on the offense, but that is the greatest defense.
But how many players on the offense have gotten in?
Yeah.
Walter Payton. How many guys on the line? How many guys on the offensive line have gotten in?
Jimbo Covert.
Yeah, not the whole team.
But there's enough there that was absolutely
To
phenomenal.
be up there with the Steel Curtain, to be up there with the Dallas Cowboys of the late 70s, early 80s, to be with the Cowboys of the early 90s, to be regarded as one of the greatest teams of all time. Now, the Bears was 1 year. And that's the one thing that will always kill me. I know it kills you.
Yes.
It hurts us that team could never succeed more than the one outstanding, incredible magic year. Whereas those other teams I mentioned had a little bit more of a sustained run over 3, 4, 5 years at least. But everybody at least knows. In football, who knows football? The guys who played it, the fans know that is arguably the greatest football team of all time.
Yep.
And thank God, Mongo, please, a couple more days, let him get through this and see this happen.
Let him relish his last moment of glory.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I am selfish. I'm a terrible human being. I still think there's a couple guys on that defense who could be in the Hall of Fame.
There are.
The
without
safeties,
a doubt.
Fensick and Plank.
Should be in there.
I'm biased. I am biased. I love Fensick and Plank. Love them.
That
love
duo kind of changed the way the secondary was played.
Yes.
With the
Hard
mentality
hitting.
that they had.
I think John Lynch directly owes them a nod. A debt of gratitude.
For the way he played.
John Lynch played just like those guys did.
Yes.
And of course, that to me is probably the second greatest defense of all time. Yes, Ravens fans can complain about that. That's fine.
Suck it.
But unfortunately, no starters will be playing Thursday night, August the 1st, as the Texans take on the Bears. We will not get to see the debut of Caleb Williams. And this leads to Dave and I saying, why the fuck do we even bother?
Yeah, I'm not even... Why even bother watching the game if you're not going to see a glimpse
of it? As Bears
anything?
fans, why am I watching this game? To see Tyler Bagent play quarterback.
Woo, whoop-de-frickin-do. Don't care.
And go to 20 games, eliminate the preseason.
And why do we even have the Hall of Fame game anymore? It's useless.
It is. It's stupid beyond belief. It's all stupid beyond belief. It's a money grab. The NFL has got more than enough when it comes to revenue streams.
If you want to make the Hall of Fame game relevant, it's the first game of the season for these two teams a week before everybody else. There you go.
I still think we eliminate the preseason altogether.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, make this week one.
If they are going to whine and bitch and piss and moan, and by the way, of course, we're already hearing word that Aaron Rodgers most likely will not play for the Jets in the preseason, which I find fascinating.
Fascinatingly stupid.
Which means that he's
2 years.
It's going to be almost 2 years since he has had meaningful on-field play outside of 4 plays. The first game of last season. If these guys are so fantastic, no, what it leads to is bad football. We talked about this last year.
Nobody played preseason last year. The teams looked like shit through the first 5 weeks of the season.
So why not just go to 20 games?
Or why don't you pull your heads out of your asses and actually use preseason to actually get game prep, and that way you can hit week 1 looking actually halfway damn decent.
But they don't care because the NFL, at this point, if you have not figured out, like with most other things in life, that these companies, corporations, businesses do not care about the fans, do not care about the consumers, there's nothing I can do for you. The NFL does not care about their season ticket holders. Who is the group they should care about the most? The people who are still paying exorbitant prices to go see these games, including getting roped into having to take on the preseason tickets if they want the regular season tickets.
It's absolutely
And then they
ridiculous.
they're worthless. The preseason games are worthless. Yes, some fans will go just to try to get that feel going, try to get the adrenaline rush.
It doesn't matter.
Go to 20 regular season games, get rid of the preseason, and then at least, if they play like shit for the first month, we'll get 16 good games, which is what we used to get.
Yeah, there you go.
Leave it to us to have to figure this shit out again for everybody.
So bad.
We have got two big quarterback contracts that were signed over the past week. One involving Dave's team. Of course, again, the Bears are our team. The Dolphins are his team. The Bucks are my team. Tua Tagovailoa gets paid. Not the top level.
But damn close. He's still getting $53+ million.
4 years, $212.4 million extension.
Overpaid.
And then, of course, the Packers
Panic move.
give Jordan Love 4 years and $220 million. Jordan Love's contract features $155 million guaranteed. Now,
Why are they getting close to Patrick Mahomes' money when they have not had
they're
anywhere?
past that. They are past. Mahomes is about $45 million right now.
But why are they getting paid more than Mahomes when they haven't done jack shit?
Now,
This is fucking ridiculous.
Interesting thing I heard. We talked earlier about the San Diego Padres and how their luxury tax situation will be very difficult to sustain in a couple years. Compare and contrast. Another interesting thing I learned, because I have insomnia and I have to listen to sports radio at 3 a.m. to get myself to sleep. The Dolphins front-loaded Tua's contract. So all the guaranteed money is up front.
All right.
If Tua does not play well, okay, he's on the last year of his rookie deal this year. Then next year the extension kicks in. So we're looking at the first 2 years of the extension. So 3 years out. 3 years out. If he sucks, at least 3 years out, what I heard is that the final 2 years, you can get out of the contract. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I'm close, $16 million in dead cap and then $8 million in dead cap after that.
Okay.
That's not terrible.
That's not horrendous.
Green Bay did the opposite.
They backloaded.
It.
Oh.
The final 2 years of Jordan Love's contract are going to destroy their salary cap. If he pans out, and if he is indeed the third straight fantastic quarterback, something like $80 million cap hit, the second to last year.
Ooh.
If they were to decide to get rid of him.
Ooh, wow.
So that tells me the Packers are going for it right now.
They are all in on
They're
him.
going to try to build a team right now around him while the cap number is low for the next 2 or 3 years. But then this is what they did with Aaron Rodgers, though, I think, too.
Yeah.
Because the Jets had to take on a shit ton of that money when it came to Aaron Rodgers. Now, the Packers got lucky that the Jets were more than willing to take that on, but
you're not going to find that twice.
Backloading this deal,
bad.
Dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
Oh.
It shows.
As a Bears fan, I hope it blows up in their face.
Dolphins being prudent, saying, we're okay with Tua, but we're not going to put all our eggs in that basket.
Nope. If we're giving ourselves an out just in case.
Yep. Whereas the Packers are like, Jordan, we think it is the third in a row. We think it is the third coming of quarterback Jesus. And so we're going to be fine with him 4 or 5 years down the road, so we're going to backload this whole deal. Dangerous move. by the Packers.
Oof, that's rough.
Yep. I thought you'd like that.
That is rough.
Yep. Then we already have one significant injury before we've even started preseason games. The Lions have lost their kicker. Michael Badgley tore his hamstring.
Ouch.
Out for the season.
Oh,
I think I read
God,
that they have got
bad.
and they've got a kicker from the UFL, I think, on the roster who's going to step in and take over.
Really?
So, yeah, that'll be interesting. A UFL guy. I root for those guys. I'd like to see those guys succeed.
Why not?
Show these GMs how stupid they are for passing on them.
And at least he's been kicking recently.
And I know he's just a kicker, but still, I like it. It's kind of cool. All right. Finally, God, over half the season in terms of baseball. Comcast and Diamond Sports Group finally came to a carriage deal, ending their 3-month blackout of 15 regional sports networks. Basically, almost the entire first half of the baseball season, the fans in 15 different markets could not watch their team.
Yeah, you're probably at what, the 60% mark?
At least, yeah. And
how
now,
magnanimous of them.
Oh my God, it's so awesome. Cable TV is so awesome. There it is, the horn of disgrace. We love the horn of disgrace. Now, he's a young guy, so I don't know if we should blow the horn of disgrace for him, but secretly, you and I love this. Charlie Woods missed the cut at the junior amateur with a score of plus 22.
Yeah, he had a horrible first round, and it just went to shit from there. I think the first round he was 12 over.
And what the hell, the big story? Oh, Tiger was in shorts so we could see his scars. They
Who
were his
cares?
fault! The scars that were his fault from being doped up and getting in a one-car accident.
He
Because
did
he was
it
doped
to
up.
himself.
That's what I don't understand. We say this all the time.
He did it to himself. Nobody to blame but Tiger.
All the sycophants out there. You're idiots. You're idiots.
Now, how much did poor Charlie play suffer because Dad was there trying to cheer him on, and you had the entire freaking gallery following Daddy around?
This has got shades of Bronny James all over it. I'm telling you.
Let the kid be himself. I know you want to support him, Tiger, but you're not doing him any favors by being there.
Nope. And here's an idea. Don't sleep with Asian hookers! There's a little bit of fatherly advice. One father to another for you. You dip fuck. Before we get to our brief, very, 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 very brief coverage of the Olympics, well, let's put it this way. There might be more coming at the end of the show.
The U.S. won some medals. There you go.
I do have a couple badasses of the week that I would like to single out. Joe Thomas, outstanding, legendary offensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns, and former ESPN commentator, Sage Steele, sticking up for a particular eatery that we have around here, Mission Barbecue.
A noble effort.
Because some dipfuck decided to post on social media, of course, an African-American person, posting, I went to eat, and all of a sudden all these white folks stood up during a national anthem.
Yeah, that's what they do at Mission Barbecue at noon, dumbass. In honor of the country and the veterans who served. Fucktard.
So kudos to Joe Thomas and Sage Steele. They were not there, obviously, but this woman posting, and of course, the libs of TikTok had to share
Oh,
this.
that bitch needs to die. Sorry.
Yeah. And of course, had to make it racist also. All these white people standing up for the national anthem in the middle of my meal. So kudos to Joe Thomas and Sage Steele for very coyly singling out this woman as an idiot. So I could have gone dumbass for her, but instead I turned a negative into a positive.
That's right.
So kudos to Joe Thomas and Sage Steele. Now let's move on.
People.
Well, no shit. That should be our tagline. Sports Frenzy 2.0. We hate people. You're lucky we like sports. All right, so the Olympics, we have told you we're not covering the Olympics. We will cover parts of the Olympics
as relevant-ish.
That are silly, stupid, fun, ridiculous, but we're not giving you medal counts.
No.
We're not doing that. Now, supposedly, even though I have heard people say otherwise, the TV ratings are ridiculously good.
Sure they're not.
So I guess, Dave, you and I are in the minority in that we're not watching the Olympics.
I maybe know one person who's watched it.
Our buddy Jamie. You know, he's been obsessed with the basketball.
Why?
You tell me. I don't. He needs to start watching movies.
He doesn't even like basketball.
You know damn well he was texting us all the time.
I know.
The opening game.
Ugh.
Supposedly over the first weekend, TV ratings were up 79% from the previous Summer Olympics.
Ugh.
Again, that's not what we're here for. Now, we talked about the Canadian women's soccer scandal. Just to close the book on that, they are still alive. As of today, July the 31st, still alive, despite the fact that they lost the appeal as they wanted the 6-point penalty they were assessed rescinded. 6 points equal to basically 2 wins.
Yeah.
But they have still been able to stay in it, still been able to advance. They did end up suspending head coach Bev Priestman, who we reported last week had voluntarily said she was not going to coach the initial game against New Zealand.
Right.
But they said, nope, go home. Go home.
We'll do this without you. It was on your watch.
And she also got a 1-year ban from FIFA. So.
Wow. There you go.
It will be very interesting to see how this all plays out in terms of, does Canada end up winning the gold despite the penalties, despite the controversy?
We will see.
Then finally, that nasty, disgusting, dirty Seine River. That old Seine River.
The old shit river?
Yeah. Which was not up to standards.
After
initially,
the rains.
They had to delay the men's triathlon. Not sure about the women, but I know they finally
today, I believe, took place.
Both did.
Both did.
Now
take
the
place.
men's was postponed. I don't know when the women were supposed to start.
Yeah, but
the men were supposed to start earlier.
Yeah, everything went off without a hitch because the rain subsided and the river flowed all the crap out to clean itself enough.
I could have swore I saw a couple people climb out of the river with brown stuff on their face.
Well, that's from who they were trailing.
Oh, David. That's even worse.
Have you seen marathoners covered in their own filth?
Ugh. Ah,
The swimmers admit that they go in the pool, for crying out loud, during the races.
God.
Because it's so difficult to get in and out of those suits.
Oh my God! You know what? I'm gonna raise a toast to myself with a beer, and say, thank God my fat ass never became an athlete for not having to deal with that. All right, I will say that this is a rare week. A rare week. I do not have a moment of silence in sports.
I do not either.
So that's a good thing.
Oh.
Well, that's a very good thing. We do not have anybody who passed away in the world of sports that we know of significance. Sorry.
If we miss something, but
Yep. We have to kind of winnow out the field, and
Yep.
we decide who is.
but for whoever has passed, our thoughts and prayers go out to their family and friends.
All right, so we're going to wrap up this extravaganza. Even though we talk about not covering the Olympics, and we just talked about the Olympics, and now I have a special
Olympic edition of the Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week.
I have 4 contestants for our Red Foreman Dumbass of the Week, and they are, yes, all tied into the Olympics. I think it's going to be pretty easy to figure out which one wins.
Boxing?
Oh, you might have one I don't. You might have one I don't.
They are allowing 2 transgender women to compete
Oh,
in the
yeah.
boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole testosterone test thing.
Bullshit.
No, I saw that and I was like,
It's too easy.
yeah, it was almost like this is the world we live in.
It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yes. Yes.
Still shouldn't happen.
Now, I have a couple of mistakes when it comes to the, how should we say this, people on the ground in France not doing their jobs properly.
No.
And then we have a deception and, of course, an outright travesty. And I think we all know what that's going to be. Let's start off with South Sudan. The basketball team just lost, unfortunately for them, today against the arrogant jackasses. See, I don't like the men's basketball team. I just don't like them.
No,
LeBron James. There's LeBron James, and I go, I can't root for him.
And you really want me to root for Kevin Durant?
Oh, but they represent. They don't care about goddamn anything about our country. They're doing this for their own brand,
Exactly.
their own self-satisfaction, promote their own brand. That's all they're doing. They don't care about the Olympic gold medal, and I don't care what they say. They don't care. But South Sudan played them hard today. But earlier on in the first game where South Sudan played, and they won. Now, this is kind of a combo. Badass, dumbass. South Sudan gets the badass part of this for their first ever men's basketball Olympics win.
Good for them.
The dumbass part of it comes in with the idiots who set this whole thing up when the players and the teams came onto the court and played the wrong national anthem for South Sudan.
Oh my God. How effing stupid are you? You have one job. One job. Get the national anthems correct. Idiots.
Oh, but then we go to the opening ceremony, Dave. No, not that yet. Not that yet. We're going to save the worst for last. Again, one job, right? One job.
One job.
How about we identify the countries properly? Now, I know the way that North Korea and South Korea refer to themselves is a little tricky.
But come on.
But you should at least know for the Olympics, the opening ceremony and introducing...
They're wearing 2 different kinds of outfits, you morons!
They introduced South Korea using the name of North Korea. Now, it's the People's Republic of whatever.
Yes.
But still, they're different. They're fairly different. If you look at them, look them up online.
Yeah.
People's Republic, or whatever.
The Democratic Republic or whatever it is.
Right. But yeah, they called South Korea basically the name that you're supposed to refer to North Korea as. So once again, you've got one job, and you fucked it up. Then I find this offensive. Maybe I'm a little bit prickly. Maybe I'm a little bit overly sensitive. But did you realize that for this Olympics, the Olympic flame is not a flame? It is a combination of lights and water vapor because the Paris Olympics are trying to be the most environmentally responsible Olympics ever.
See? They don't even get a good
Horn of
disgrace. They don't deserve the premier horn of disgrace because they are a disgrace.
Yeah, and again, record numbers of viewers for the most stupid, idiotic Olympics already of all time. We can't even have a goddamn single flame burning to symbolize the greatest competition among countries in our history. Because we gotta be environmentally friendly.
Friendly this.
But of course, finally, this one will probably take the cake, without a doubt. No brainer. Once again, now I could have saved this for the weekend edition. I could have.
It could have gone either way.
But I kind of wanted to go, I split things 4 and 4. So this will even things up for the weekend edition, by the way, where Dave and I will be your Saturday morning hangover cure, as always, discussing Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo live in Indianapolis. Land of Bad on Netflix right now, starring Russell Crowe. You got a book review, right?
I've got a book review and a story time.
And I have got my wrap-up of Loudermilk on Netflix as well. But I decided to shift this over to stay with this whole
Olympic fiasco?
The all-Olympic fiasco here on the Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week for the sports edition. We all know what this is. And I cannot stand the idiocy of these people with the pushback.
The arrogance.
Of course, we're talking about how the Olympics opening ceremony featured a bunch of drag queens, and fat-ass drag queens at that, parodying The Last Supper during the opening ceremony.
And I find their excuse bullshit. Oh, it's supposed to be Dionysus, the god of blah, 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 who fathered blah, 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 who the saint is named after blah, blah, blah. Right.
Here's my thing about that, and I saw the same thing you did. The whole excuse of Dionysus. This was not the Last Supper, this is Dionysus. Then why didn't the guy, the idiot who set this whole thing up right away,
why wasn't it announced what it was about?
Why didn't he come out and say, you don't understand, this was I'm going to refer you to Dionysus, right? He did not do that.
No.
He comes out and he says, I didn't mean to offend anybody. I was trying to bring people together. No, see, that's bullshit. If it was
supposed to have been this Dionysus tableau, that's what you should have started with. But no, you fucked it up because you're a moron. I am sick of all this bullshit.
And then you got all these idiots on Full House. You got Candace Cameron Bure comes out and says this is offensive to Christians. And then one of the women who, now women, of course, formerly girl on Full House, Jodie Sweetin, who now all of a sudden is a fucking art historian, who comes out with the whole, you don't understand people, you're stupid, this is Dionysus. Again, if the guy who had set this up, who had come up with this whole idea, if he'd come right out of the gate,
and
the
said,
minute
this is what it is, it wasn't this. If you come out and have to say, we didn't mean to offend anybody, then you knew what the fuck you were doing.
Exactly. And you want to drop us a comment on it? Fine. Our Spotify page. Drop us a comment. You want to
Why
get
did
into
they
this?
even have to have a role in this? There was no reason for it at all. Except checkbox.
Yeah. So you want to get into it with us about this? Feel free to drop a comment. But I would love to hear anybody's talk back about this. I would love to hear the retort about this. Because again, if the guy who had set this all up had come out right away and said, listen, refer to Dionysus. This is not the last... He did not do that. So that
How
tells
about
me...
if there was any question ahead of time going in, you make the announcement about what it actually is as it's going on.
Yeah, and I don't need to hear Hollywood asshats. And I am so fucking tired. I am getting so tired of Hollywood.
Shut up and entertain me.
How we're so much better than you and so much smarter than you. Again, show me your diploma in political science, in art history, in religion, before you start going off at the mouth about things you really don't know anything about. Just because you are an actor.
You're a trained monkey. Shut up and entertain me.
God, I love that. I love that. Trained monkey. God damn it, that's right. That's what you are. You're a bunch of trained goddamn monkeys.
And no, there's nothing racial or stereotypical about it.
No. And we don't care because we're politically incorrect anyway. So, Dave, is there any doubt as to who the dumbass of the week is?
Yeah, it's the entire Paris Olympics from top to bottom.
But again, I guess we're the only two people in the world not watching it.
Ah, au contraire, mon frère.
Record ratings. Again, record ratings.
Whatever. What? Yeah, how does everything get record ratings?
I know, that's the thing. You and I have talked about that for months and months. We keep hearing
everything is record ratings.
It could be hockey. It could be basketball. Final Four. Everything, you're right, this year is getting record ratings. And I just wonder what's going on.
Manipulation.
But God, no, we would never, ever subscribe to any kind of conspiracy theory whatsoever, would we?
Oh, any chance we get.
Well, I'll say it. That Last Supper shit has got to be. And I'm not the religious guy here. I'm not. I'm agnostic. I'm just like, I believe in some otherworldly shit, but I sure as hell believe everybody has the right to practice the religion that they want unless they're sacrificing babies.
Can you imagine the world outrage if it would have been against Islam or against Judaism in this current
Oh, they would have
culture?
been fine with Judaism.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah, Muslim, Islam, you're right. No, never would have tolerated that. Because again, it's selective bullshit. It's racism.
It's a hate crime.
Everything, reverse everything. Reverse every phobia. Homophobia. Reverse it.
Ugh.
Racism, reverse it. That's what's going on in the world right now. Everybody's using these things as an excuse to force their way in disproportionately to entertainment, to the media.
to everyone's
it's like
way
a disease, is what it is. It's like you said, checkbox. It's a checkbox disease where we got to force people to not write the stories they want, to tell the tales that they want to from the heart.
To change existing stories to fit a particular narrative.
There you go, kids. And much more of this will be coming on the weekend edition, although it won't be about the Olympics. We will actually move on to other stuff. But yes, there will still be dumbasses.
There's always dumbasses.
Because there's dumbasses in sports, there's dumbasses in entertainment and pop culture, and there's dumbasses every second when you walk out the door in the morning. You know it, I know it, Dave knows it, we all know it. He's a conquistador, Dave Heights.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
We love you. Again, you can drop comments on our Spotify page anytime you want.
Check out the weekend edition, your Saturday morning hangover cure.
Say goodnight to the kids, Dave.
Good night to the kids, Dave.